Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Late Night Review. And tonight I want to talk about one of my very favorite movies of all time, and one that I really have a lot of sentimental value for, one I grew up with, Every Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood. This is a movie I watched over and over again as a kid, and just always loved it. There was never a time in my life where I didn't like it. I think it's really a fun movie. It's got drama, it's got action, it's got some silly parts, some dramatic parts, some serious parts. It has a lot in it. And Clint Eastwood, I've always been a fan of his movies. I really like Clint Eastwood. And I think this is my favorite Clint Eastwood movie besides the Dirty Harry series. I love a lot of his movies. I mean, Unforgiven, Heartbreak Ridge, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, uh, The Edgar Sanction. There's so many of his that I like. And then the sequel to this one, Any Which Way You Can. But Every Which Way But Loose, I think, along with the sequel, Any Which Way You Can, are my two favorite Clint Eastwood movies besides the Dirty Harry series. I really like this movie. It's funny. And then the ape, Clyde. They have some really funny scenes in here. Excuse me, it has some really funny scenes in here. And I think that you get to see kind of a lighter side of Clint Eastwood in here. He plays the everyman. And that's one thing that really draws me to this movie, too. He plays the everyman with some extraordinary circumstances, but there's a lot of things in this movie that people can relate to. I think one of the criticisms, and it's kind of in a way, I think it's an okay criticism, but I think it comes down to taste. One thing I've heard about this movie that people kind of criticize is it goes off in so many different directions, and there's not just one main plot story. We don't really know what it's about. Well, I don't think that's a problem at all, because this is a movie that has a story, but it's a story that goes in multiple directions. Just like our lives go in multiple directions, and I think in a way that kind of draws certain people to this movie. I know it draws me to this movie because you have drama, you have comedy, you have some action. Clint Eastwood plays the everyman. He has an extraordinary ape, though, in here. And I think that our lives go in multiple directions. So I really don't have a problem that this movie goes in many different directions, because that's the way real life is. Besides, some of the silly comedy in here, even though life can be really funny too. Some of the outrageous things with the ape and then the motorcycle gang, that's kind of fake, but it seems to have it all. It has, if you like comedy, I think you'll like this. It may or may not land for you, but I think it is genuinely funny. It's got pretty good action in here. Some of the fight scenes are okay. Some of them are fake. Some of the fight scenes are fake. Some of them are kind of real. I think the first fight at the little diner that he goes into, where they're arguing over the peanuts, and how that kind of starts, and then how the the beginning of the fight is kind of realistic in a way. And then, but I had a cousin once who got into a fight and knocked a guy out, actually, and he hit the jukebox and it came on. So that's not as far fetched as you would think, but self defense. But that's another story. But I think this movie is really fun, interesting, and it's got drama too. I really felt sorry for Clint Eastwood. He was pursuing Sandra Locke, his love interest, in this movie, and in real life they had a relationship. In this movie, he pursues her, and I think most people have seen this movie, but if you haven't, check it out. So I don't mind putting a few spoilers on here, because it is an older movie and a lot of people have seen it, but younger generations may or may not have. I grew up watching this movie, but he pursues her, and she's kind of using him. She really is using him, but I think deep down she really likes him, but it's hard for her to get out of that zone that she's in, that lifestyle she's been in for so long. And I feel sorry for him because he does genuinely love her, and he's being used. And it's an interesting dynamic. I think that it makes the movie more sentimental, and I think it makes it more valuable. So it has a lot. It has drama too, not just action and fighting and comedy. but it has drama in it too. And like I said before, our lives go in different directions. So I don't mind that this movie goes in different directions with different plots and with different dynamics in one story. I actually like it in a way. And there's good music in here too. And like I said, you get to see a lighter side of Clint Eastwood. And I really like him in here. I really do like him in here and enjoy this movie, and I highly recommend it. This was directed by James Fargo, and James Fargo did one of my favorite Chuck Norris movies, if not my favorite Chuck Norris movies of all time, Forced Vengeance. And then he also did another Eastwood movie, The Enforcer. And then the music in here is good. Eddie Rabbitt does the theme song. Uh, Every Which Way But Loose, and you might remember him from the hit song I Love a Rainy Night. I've always enjoyed that song as well. So you got good music in here, good times, fun action and fighting, comedy, but drama too, and some very serious sequences in here as well, and sad sequences. So yeah, I mean, if you like that kind of movie, if it sounds good to you, please check it out. I really enjoy this. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, of any category. It is my favorite Clint Eastwood movie, I think it is, besides the Dirty Harry series. And then the sequel to this, Any Which Way You Can. Sometimes I like it, just depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I like it better than this. And there's a really good fight scene at the end of that movie with William Smith, the actor who played uh, Conan's father in the original Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then he was also in Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze, and he was in a kind of a horror comedy, funny movie, and scary kind of Maniac Cop Part One. I think he played a part in that movie as well. But him and Clint Eastwood have a big fight at the end. That's a good movie too. Maybe I'll do a video of that in the future. Not sure, but it's really one of my favorites. So if you haven't seen Every Which Way But Loose, check it out. I highly recommend it. It's well done, funny. It pretty much has everything, good action, and it's one of my favorites. So check it out and share this video, like and subscribe. This has been the Late Night Review. Take care, everybody, and have a good night.